got everybody off the track to the upstairs for a briefing. Thank you.
Plenty more side on for 8, which will be new. Yellow flags out on the outside ahead of 4. Looks like that could be Ben Ficini. No, Ficini's still brilliant. That
Attention paddock, senior profile, please make your way to dummy grid. This is your last call for the final. If you're not there when we leave the dummy grid, you will not race in the final.
The fastest lap in the race at 52.899. Back to third, where is where the action battle. Fifth, Ambrose yielding some ground to Kell in the championship battle. Neither driver picked a point first instance today. Tell that doesn't matter, he's already missed 2 rounds. 0 scored both of those. Missed round 1 and then missed round 5 as well because he was off racing his saloon car at Croft that weekend. And the Ambrose has 44 points from round 1, which will almost certainly be a drawn score. Him, unless he can put enough points on the board to beat his round 4 score. It looks like round 7, which is this one, will be a drawn score. Ambrose, should he not finish any higher on what he currently is at the moment, that would become a drawn score for him. Stage left on the camera, and that's opened up the 44 of Ambrose, moves him up into 3rd place. Cole will go from fifth to fourth. Bowker should get running again and hopefully catch him coming through in the background. There he is. What would have been a second place in the final for Bowker, certainly in the seniors, looks like it's going to be a third. He's yielded that one to Ambrose as over the line, arm up, and it's a great win for Daniel Bell. Both his champions, Andy Ambrose, French's in second overall. Now Andy Ambrose over the line for his second place in the class. On the national circuit here at the Teesside Autodrome, so we come through the national route rather than heading off down onto the international circuit, down the bottom end of the track, which, given that it's raining and there's a massive downhill bit to that corner, it's probably a wise decision that we don't use that corner, because I imagine the gravel track is very, very wet at the bottom end of that circuit. So, as always, please do keep your comments coming in via the Facebook page at Teesside Karting and on the live stream for if you're watching on YouTube. Also, get yourself ready for the number 8, round number 8 for the link on that one. So we will alongside him is Sam Harris. Josh Volkers is in third. Fourth is David Brown. Third row has Jake Walker on the inside, Martin Black on the outside. Then we have Brandon Truman Reddish and Scott Tate on row 4. Row 5, Danielle Gardner and Mark Tate at 81. Then we have Adam Wood on the inside, James helmet. We have Emma Brown on the outside of him, that's the top 10. Alban Dowell, Con White and Nigel Richardson round out what is remaining of the grid from round 7. Marshall just checking that 31. Tate, both his engines are started. Twin engine pro karts for the extreme class. Concealed RPM engine. We are underway. Connor Lucas makes a start. Harris started, stopped, and then started again. Similar fashion to Sebastian Vettel last week in Suzuka, and it's hampered him. He's going to have to go right round the outside as Josh Volkers slots into second place. It's Connor Lucas away in the lead. It's Lucas from Volkers as they splash through the puddles. In the background, looks like we have a spinner. It's looking for of Adam Wood. It is. So Adam Wood joins on. Everybody else is moving. Your top 4 is Lucas and Volkers. They're away. They're going to move together. There's a gap then back to Harris. Black had got himself up into 4th. Brookett is 5th. As they go round the south bank for the first time. All over the back of Connor Lucas, dives to the inside of hairpin 4, takes the lead. Lucas will then try to cut back to the inside, but now he's going to have to go right round the outside. Josh Volkers leads though for the first time in the final. Volkers and Lucas working the wheel incredibly hard as the rain continues to fall here at the Teesside Autodrome. Volkers leads, Lucas second, Harris third, Black in 4th, Brookett is 5th, David Brown down to 6th, second row start, Truman Reddish is 7th, Connor White to 8th, Mark Tate to 9th, Danielle Gardner rounds out the top 10 with Emma Brown 11th, Nigel Richardson, Scott Tate has dropped well away down to 13th, Colin Dowland and Adam Wood recovering from his spin as Connor Lucas goes to the inside of the South Bank corner and retakes the lead from Josh Volkers. Volkers will then come back down the inside. Not shy of a move on that corner, as we've seen already once today, to his own detriment in heat number 3, earning himself a 20-second time penalty at the end of that. As they come out of hairpin 4, and each driver has now swapped positions. Volkers this time will have to go to the outside. Side by side into the bus stop chicane. Both of them have to slam the ankles on there as the puddles are increasing in size a little bit. During the interval, we might see the pump that you could just see on the inside of that hairpin corner there, utilised to reduce a few of those. Even the wet weather conditions, our single pro drivers not shy of taking a healthy chunk of curb. But to be fair, whilst ever you're in the air, you're not on the ground in the wet weather, so maybe that's a bonus. But Volkers has dropped back certainly a lot, back to 3rd. In fact, Volkers has disappeared. He's there now in 5th place, so trouble there for Josh Volkers. Drops him well down the order. Sam Harris now having to take over the mantle of trying to get past our championship and race leader Connor Lucas, and he does, down the inside of Lucas into 4. Lucas though should have the drive round the outside, and he returns to the head of the field. 7 remaining. Harris, Brown back into 3rd, Volkers 4th, Black in 5th, Truman Reddish is 6th, from Mark Tate 7th, Jake Brookett is 8th. Black tries to go right round the outside of Josh Volkers. No can do, and has to slot back in. Drivers bounce over, trying to Reddish right there in the background. As Volkers goes very wide, almost runs off track and allows Black to go through. He's going to go to the inside. They're going to be wide. Are they down the back straight? At least 2 of them as Truman Reddish gets to the inside of Martin Black, but Black on the outside, managing to get on the power a little bit earlier. Looks like he's got a little bit too much power as he runs into the back of Josh Volkers halfway around the South Bank loop. To be fair now, it does look like there's a little bit of a train forming as the battle for 3rd rages on. It's backing everybody into the field. Top 3 both Brooker and Tate in the 52. He's got to look back. His battle is really with the 53, or the 73, sorry, of Daniel Gardner for the Women's Championship. Mark Tate in the 81, well out of the way of all his championship rivals in the 40s. Looks like he's going to have that championship sewn up very soon as David Brown goes to the inside of Sam Harris for second place. Looked like he was going to get it done, but Harris gets on the power. Hours away. Harris, though, stops almost mid-corner of the South Bank loop. Brown runs into the back of him. Certainly the conditions worsening slightly maybe from the first heat that we saw of the day for our senior pro kart drivers. Harris takes the much tighter line there, trying to keep Brown behind him. Plays the hands of Lucas out of the way, but also overlay, although a slightly different delivery to what we're used to seeing him. So the battle for seconds is Harris. Brown trying every which way to get past him so far. Reddish though, you see, catching into the back of Black. Sam Harris going very defensively, half race distance to go. Certainly taking much tighter lines into a lot of these corners than what we'd probably see if he wasn't under such pressure with Brown. As he comes right to the inside, Brown's going to have to try and mix it up and try something different. Because if he doesn't, he's going to come under pressure as Josh Volker spins. The head goes back. He knows that that one was driver error only, no contact. He just caught the curve on the inside and it's sent back on the ground. Well down the field towards the back of the pack. Another spinner there, that's Tate. Mark Tate in the 81 spins and he rejoins the track right in front of Josh Volkers. Volkers has to go right round the outside of him. I wasn't sure if there was going to be contact between those two, but they've sorted themselves out. Connor Lucas leads with 4 remaining. After Black goes sideways, opens the door for Brandon Reddish at hairpin 1. There, Truman Reddish goes down the inside. Black's going to have to try and cut down the inside. The yellow flag is out, so no overtaking opportunities for our drivers there. Reddish will go right round the outside and does in fact keep the position. So Truman Reddish up now into the top 4. Sam Harris has to cut to the inside. David Brown will try and go right round the outside. Will Brown then try to cut back to the inside? Harris stops mid-corner again and the block moved by him, but he knows exactly what he's doing and he's doing just enough to keep the 55 of David Brown behind him. Brandon Truman Reddish though working in the background, waiting for an opportunity. Those two drivers battling too much and opening the door. Connor Lucas though is 2.5 laps away from taking the senior pro kart championship here at Teesside. Brandon Truman Reddish very, very wide into hairpin 1. That's dropped him back. The 2 out front. Martin Black cuts to the inside. Truman Reddish though will have the good on the outside. Black though dives to the inside. Reddish right round the outside, slams the door shut on Martin Black as David Brown goes right the way round the outside, takes second place from Sam Harris. It's been a few laps coming. Looks like he's finally got it done. Harris to the inside though. Brown though will run right the way down the outside, finds the grip and moves into second place. Harris drops back to third. The touches now of Brandon Truman Reddish. 2 laps remaining in the senior pro kart final. We'll bring an end to round number 7. We'll then be back in around about 15 minutes time for qualifying of round number 8 as Brandon Truman Reddish battles for the final podium position. He's already on his way to a club class win. Will he get a 3rd overall by taking the 53 of Sam Harris, 3rd place? David Brown though out in front of the pack in the battle for 2nd. Connor Lucas is 5.5 seconds down the road. to take the last lap board. Brown round the outside. Harris cuts to the inside. Truman Reddish will have to try something different to Harris. We know Harris likes to keep the lines tight, as he does once again go to the inside of hairpin 4. Once again, use that inside line to try and slingshot his way past David Brown. Last lap board is out for our leaders. They are through for the final time. Behind 73 of Daniel Gardner, 8. Battle for their club in class. So we are round about half a lap away from crowning a new senior pro kart champion. As Brandon Truman Reddish goes to the inside of Sam Harris, briefly takes third, has to drop back to fourth. Round hairpin number 3 is the number 43 of Connor Lucas. Round hairpin number 4 plants the throttle. It's a straight blast. Clear a space on the mantelpiece. There's a championship trophy coming back to Oldham. Connor Lucas crosses the line. He's been formidable all season. Crosses the line, takes the win, takes the championship as well. The 2019 Senior Pro Kart Champion, the number 43 of Connor Lucas. David Brown comes through with a superb second in the 55. Sam Harris does in fact hold on to third. Roman Brandon Truman 1-5-1. Martin Black, 5th, Connor White, 6th. From 10 to 7, Daniel Gardner, 8th. Martin Black, 9th. Here at the Teesside Autodrome. Longest round possibly in racing history. It's taken us a month to get it done. Round number 7 is finally in the books. We'll be back in around about 15 minutes time for round number 8. To start with Bambino qualifying, and all our 5 classes will have their qualifying sessions before our race day starts. Join me on the link for round number 8 on Alpha Live in around about 15 minutes, and also on the Teesside Karting Facebook page. I have been David Sullivan. I will be back with you very, very shortly. See you soon. starting for round number 8 of the NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series. Hi, I'm David Sullivan. I'll be taking you through all of today's action. We are currently halfway through our Bambino qualifying session, and it is Scarlett Dunn, your early pole setter, 1:12.260. From Thomas Potter, Oliver Sybil in 4th from Edward Haynes, then we have Ollie Carter, Edward Ryan, Henry Hampton, and Ryan yet to set a time. On screen, and will come over the line in a few moments, does finally set time. 2 minutes and 8 seconds from opening lap. It's well down time. So, the time to beat so far has currently been set by the number 44 of Edward Haynes with a 1:12.003. He's moved to the head of the timing. His quest for the championship at Teesside. On screen, the number 22, Thomas Potter, the current championship leader, is currently in 4th. Thank you all for joining me. Please feel free to get in touch via comments on live feeds, either via YouTube or on the Teesside Karting Facebook page, and we'll have a look through those as the day goes on. As you can see, the weather conditions are damp at best, and thoroughly saturated inwards. We are carrying on regardless, because the weather forecast is due to improve as the day goes on, and as we know from weather forecasts, they're always continue. This morning's action, we've already had the end of round 7, which has crowned a couple of champions in the process. We'll bring you all up to date with those as the day goes on. 3 minutes and 13 seconds of this Bambino qualifying session remaining. Scarlett Dunn with a 1:11.605 is the early pace setter in this all Comet Bambino grid. No IR is running with us today, so all parts of the same engines on them. One addition, you will see round 7, so couldn't partake in proceedings, and joins us now for round number 8. One driver that has not been taking part in so just one of the Dunn pairing out on track, and that pairing, one of those is at the head of the time. 7, so Scarlett Dunn. All 3 heats to the final. 7 is to go very, very well in the wet conditions as she closes in on the back of the 8. That is Ollie Carter in 5th. Top 6 is split by just over 2 seconds. As we have a spinner, that is the 55 Hansen spins, and Dunn has to go round the outside. The 88 of Carter has spun as well. 2 spinners and 2 remaining. Based in a time trial format, they will line up single file on their grid and then be sent on their way as Edward Haynes crosses the line to steal pole position with a minute 50 remaining. So Haynes will position pole position 1:11.521. Edward quicker than Dunn. Second, Thomas Potter 3rd, Oliver Sybil 4th. Final result from round 7 was a win for Dunn, with Potter and Sybil either side of her on the podium. Trophies will be given out a little later on in the day after round number 8, 40 seconds, so drivers will potentially get one more lap if they can cross the line just in enough time. I think Scarlett Dunn might get another stab at it.
You are
She
not
will
at the
be
dummy
round
grid. We
over
will
the
go
line in a few
without you.
moments. That will give her enough time. I think Haynes will get another opportunity as well. Forwards Oliver Sybil Dunn returns the favour and goes back to the top of the time. It's 1:11.347. Haynes will come through this time, see whether he can improve. 1:11.48, so he goes back on the pole on driving there. The lapsers will have this lap and this lap only to improve on their time. Over the line, finding a little bit more grip and a little bit more pace every time they come round. Our Bambino drivers using the grooved LeConte all-weather tyre, probably for the best in these weather conditions that they have got some grooves on. It's still not as much as a full wet as you would expect. Yellow flag out on the outside of hairpin 4. Looks like we have a spinner. Could be Riley booked to Young in the 69, and Dunn has to go round the outside of him. So that makes her lap a little bit longer and potentially ruins an opportunity to get the pole position. She'll come over the line this time. No improvement for Dunn, so it's going to take something special for somebody now to beat Edward Haynes. Over pretty much at the same time. The checkered flag is out. That is everybody over the line. Edward Haynes starts from the field. Racing begins in around about 45 minutes or so. 4 more qualifying sessions, which will start very, very shortly with Junior Pro Car. Then we'll have our cadet class, 2 strokes, and then Senior Pro Car. And then hopefully by then it'll have stopped raining. So, I'll be honest with you, I can't see it. Bambino come through the exit stage left very shortly and off into the pit lane. They'll then go over the weighbridge, make sure everybody is minimum weight, which for Bambino is 69 kilos. Weighbridge. Very shortly. Junior Pro Kart out onto the track. They will start their qualifying session. 9 of Jake Richardson. He wasn't out this morning, so his first chance to sample the wet weather conditions in the number 9. By Callum Boone, the 13. Bouncing over the curve and getting into the way, that's not going to help any of them improve in terms of lap times or set a good one. If they start battling with each other early, they need to even themselves out a little bit and get a marker set down. We are patiently waiting for the first times to be set, the first driver to come over the line to set the time will be the number 38 of Aaron Alexander. Running now without any pressure, having already secured the Junior Pro Kart Championship earlier on in the day at round 7 in his first time, 58.430. Anybody else's first effort. Swiftly getting accustomed to the wet weather conditions, going straight into second place with his first time out in the wet. 18. Caitlin Frame go round the bottom corner. That's into hairpin 3. Alexander will pass very, very shortly. Time to beat so far, 58.4 for Aaron Alexander. In a few moments' time, he will see he can improve on his time. He doesn't. Anybody else improve because the weather causing too many problems. Morris improves 4 tenths off the back of Alexander. Hill to second. Richardson goes down to 4. 2 more over the line shortly. One is Kieran Lambert. He goes straight up into 5th. The 42 though, once again, of Jacob O'Connor, not showing on the timing screen. To see whereabouts he grids up at the start, but at best guess at the moment he's circling with Kieran Lambert, so he's in that sort of region pace-wise, so I don't see him around about 6th place. Alexander moves through 57, 8, 6 the time to beat so far. Morris though is pretty sure he's in the gap. He's at 9-10. Ending the chasing pack this time round. Alexander with a comfortable 57, 8. Barker improves, he goes up to 5th. Spears, well, Ballesteros in 10th, slightly. Personal best. Different lines. We see Booth there go right around the outside. Alexander goes to the inside of that corner. Different lines for different drivers. The track is still very, very wet. No better than what it has been all morning. More than we run continuously. Standing on the inside. Great load is driving slide their way round to the cones on the inside of the final speed rail. 19 past 10. Outside a little bit too sideways though this time as they go through the bus stop chicane and does a full 360, keeps the power down and keeps it going, but I don't think this will be his fastest lap, that's for sure. Last chicane, 15 of Asher Blythe behind him, currently set for a 3rd place inside of the 2nd row start for 15 provisionally. Alexander cements his place at the top of the timing with a 57.670, goes even faster. But certainly the driver to beat in the wet weather conditions as Blythe slides down the inside of Sandro Ballesteros in the 19. Sandro getting that kart very, very sideways in the wet conditions, especially blowing in well. Spears improves, goes into 4th, 7th. That was with Barker and Lambert down. Eye out later on the screen on the Jacob O'Connor, not showing on the time this morning in his arm up. He's coming off into the pit lane. He is. So he did have some problems earlier on in the day with a wheel detaching, and he's just picked off, and it looks like he didn't have his that 2 car. time certainly not dropping for any of our drivers. Brings us a kart, 9 car through, currently sitting in 7th place. 2.5 minutes remaining. Junior Pro Kart qualifying session here for round number 8 of the NRG Cycles Owner Driver Sprint Series. Thank you, as always, to NRG Cycles for the advice that they have all season, giving everybody the opportunity on offer here at the Teesside Autodrome throughout all our classes. Really show you how close the racing can be under the conditions. Alexander in the 38 pulls off into the pit lane. Comes forward, he's 57.670. He's going to be able to leave him on the front row. Personal best in 11 for Caitlin Frame in the 18 for the 13.67. Here at Teesside karting. Mason Barker trying to improve on his current 7th place, followed by Callum Booth. Both of those drivers in 7th and 8th. Booth down in 8th qualifying, having ran very well and getting himself on the podium for round number 7, taking a trophy home for 3rd place. Back circling the bright orange helmet. There's his first attempt with the new transponder. Say 1:02.699, which puts him into 11th place. Wide. The chicane section and into hairpin number 1. So old Formula 1 lap shootout territory now for the number 42. He's on one remaining effort to setting himself a time, unless the circuit picked up anything earlier from his been having transponder issues for the number 42 for most of the morning. As he comes through wide and gets some grip out of hairpin number 4. The checker is out. But all of our drivers know it's here for the great final lap. Himself up into 3rd place. Ashton wide through O'Connor coming slightly over to 10. Lambert through remains 4th. Jack Morris, over driver, potentially good. Aaron Alexander off pole position in any case. He's likely to start alongside him on the front row. He comes through, gets as close as he can to the curb, try and straight line it down to his side. Aaron Alexander will start on pole position alongside Jack Morris. Weird and Kieran Lambert share of 2. Jake Richardson and Ashton White. Mason Barker, Thomas Gray, Callum Booth, Alessandro Valmiro, on time. White in around about 50 minutes for their first heat. Mason Barker there. The red suit followed in by Callum Booth. 2 drivers that circled pretty much nose to tail for most of that qualifying session, and more likely to have one. be out there getting a feel for the weather conditions with their wet weather tyres. Into the session, drivers will set the first time. We'll be able to see who the early pace setters are. Don't expect to look much further away from the 66 and the final in gap 7. Securing the championship here at Teesside for 2019. Down. 160 as well today, so we've got the 37 of Jack Thompson, the 67 of Oliver B, 54 of Cian McLeod making his debut here at Teesside Karting, and 21 as well of Victor Hansen. All drivers running 160s along with our own plate winner from the December meeting, the Ollie Poole. Certainly now our 160 champion here, even though he has missed one or two rounds, competing in the BKC Championship, but he's done very well for himself in that as well. Early pace. Franklin and the 88 of Isabella Stanmore Wilson, celebrating her 8th birthday today. Our driver of the number 88. I'll celebrate her birthday, but nonetheless happy 8th birthday to 88 Isabella Stanmore Wilson. All drivers now through to set their first lap. The grid as it stands is Oliver Buckton, Bella Franklin, Isabella Stanmore Wilson, Catherine Potter, 4th, Lizzie Ventia, Sebastian Corkin, Charlie Wyatt, Ollie Poole, Josh Harrison, 32. Another driver making their first appearance. David Mack, Gracie Mitchell, Matt Shields, Jack Thompson, Billy Fishburne, Cian McLeod, William Robertson, Ethan Gurley, Charlie Benson, Gareth Fox-Whiteley, Oliver Mead, 20 drivers down there. Deckridge. Franklin now moves to the top of the timing. All the drivers improved slightly on their last lap, which moved Buckton from pole position down to 7th. Franklin, divisional pole from Potter, Mitchell, Mentia, Corky. Follow the 11 of Gracie Mitchell out of hairpin 2 and onto the back straight. Round the South Bank loop, Ollie Poole with a personal best with a 57.6. There's been 2 drivers spinning at the top end of the track. One looks like it was Catherine Potter, the other one potentially could be Max Shields. Quite a distinctive livery, but about 3 metres away, so I've got to make sure we'll see if he pops the top round. The drivers coming into contact in their qualifying session. Mitchell jumps to the top of the timing, and the times are improving with every lap. 55.943 the time to beat. Mitchell, Potter, Franklin, Mentia, and all-female top 4 as it stands. Mitchell in the 77 slides down the inside of the 77 of Sophie Pawsey. Buckton, though, ruins the all-female party at the top of the timings, goes up to 4th, drops Mentia down to 5th. We've got Mitchell still there with a 55.9. pole. 5.5 minutes remaining. Spinner on that top corner. Gets himself going again. Even though we've got 20 cars shown on the time screen, more than that coming out on the track. At least 22 out there. Victor Hansen and Oliver Watson as well. Leon Barlow going round, can't see him on the time screen. Maybe another driver having some transponder issues in the 42, unless he's been off in the pits and come back in. Looks like that time round by Stanmore Wilson, not enough to move too much in the time standings. Superb jump though by the 52 of Sebastian Corky. Makes an appearance up in 4th place on the timing screen. Movements further down as Kian McLeod improves along with Ethan Girling as well. William Robinson improves and nudges them both back down. So 4 minutes remaining, your top 10 as it stands. Mitchell, Potter, Franklin, Corky, Buckton, Stanmore Wilson, Mentier, Wyatt, Shields, Poole. We've got Harrison, Fox, Whiteley, Thompson, Mack. Fox Whiteley improves that time round at 57.9. The driver, the number 22. Personal best as well for Oliver Buckton, moves him up to 4th. Corky goes down to 5th, but even so, a superb qualifying session by the number 52 of Sebastian Corky. Already has the championship in the bag, racing without any pressure in the number 66 car. Still though, you see how much he's working, the head's down behind the steering wheel, trying to improve the straight line speed of the number 66. So go into that bottom corner. Looks like Watson and Hansen both peeled off into the pits, and no improvement from those two. They will start walking back on our cadet field. 3 minutes remaining, that's 3 laps for our drivers. Oliver Buckton in the 66 comes through, crosses the line, improves and goes up into 2nd. Provisional front row start for him. 23 of Charlie Wyatt remains in 8th. He comes round and follows through. Driver certainly in the ride is a match for anybody here on the cadet grid. As Franklin improves as well. Nudges Potter down to 4th. Very little between those two drivers in terms of lap time. By all accounts, Buckton is going to need to find himself just over 1/10 of a second to dispose Mitchell at the front of the grid as it stands so far. So Mitchell, Buckton, Franklin, Potter, the front 2 rows, then Corking and the 88 of Stanmore Wilson, the 50 of Mentier. Buckton comes over, does improve with his final attempt to 55.8. So Buckton will be through as the provisional sitter, and he's got through just in enough time that he's going to get another stab at it. Buckton, Mitchell and Franklin. Franklin's going to come through. Very wide though, and doesn't improve, remains 3rd at best. No improvements further down the field either for the 54 of McLeod. Mentier's through, Corking through with a superb lap, puts him up to 3rd. Mitchell can't improve though. Oliver Buckton, your championship winner, will start once again from pole position alongside Gracie Mitchell on the front row. A superb qualifying for Sebastian Corking in the 52 will start 3rd alongside Bella Franklin in 4th. Catherine Potter 5th, Isabella Stanmore Wilson 6th. Lizzie Mentier 7th, Charlie Wyatt in 8th as he comes through and over the line. Max Shields 9th, Ollie Poole in 10th. So left it right until the end of the session, did Oliver Buckton, but did enough when it mattered to put that number 66 car once again on pole position for our cadet class. 77, Aussie, overlay there on the pool. Driver. Back, absolutely no rest to the action here at Teesside Karting. The cadets still going over the weighbridge, but out in the background, our two-stroke flats are out for their qualifying session. A couple of new drivers to the track out there, getting themselves used to wet weather conditions. We'll run through all of those as they come through. The first one out now over the dummy grid to set a time will be the number 66. Track. Quick look at the weather radar and see how things are shaping up for this afternoon. As you can see on the screen, the weather conditions at the moment are very, very wet. The weather condition was the forecast was that it was going to ease up a little bit towards lunchtime and into the early afternoon. We'll, can but hope that that is the case, and it brings for a dry afternoon of racing, although the forecast has changed slightly, and it looks like this might be with us for the rest of the day, which is unfortunate unless you're a driver that really, really enjoys being out in the rain. First time out is over the line is the number 66 of Ryan Elliott, the driver which you would expect to see up there. He's racing with NNX30 this weekend, so a driver with a little bit more power, but the weather conditions evening things out a little bit for our drivers. Max Prentice quickly jumps to the top in his junior car, and as we've seen from earlier in the day, the weather conditions really a leveller between the junior and the senior karts, with Jude Cole taking 2 overall wins in 2 heats before Dan Kell came through in the 89 to win the final overall and increase his points tally for the season and close the gap to Andy Ambrose in the championship battle. So 2 colour numbers on the side of your screen. The blue numbers are our senior drivers and the white number are our junior drivers. So we'll have a quick look down the timing screen with 7 remaining. Ryan Elliott is your provisional pole sitter, Daniel Kell in 2nd, Max Prentice 3rd, Andy Ambrose 4th, Jude Cole 5th, William Young 6th, Ben Ficini 7th, Stephen Kell 8th, Tom Reeve. Paul Swan moves up to 8th, Kell down to 9th, Reeve is 10th, Lindsay 11th, Adam Parker in 12th, Josh Burns shown as 13th, but he's off and into the pits. So we see the 77 of double heat winner Jude Cole making his way round hairpin number 3. Paul Swan comes over the line, improves slightly, but it doesn't move him up anywhere from his 8th place in the number 52 and his bright yellow oversuit, which makes him easy to spot. You see that's William Young in the 92 coming through, followed by the number 18 of Callis Cole, although another driver who's not showing up on the timing screen. The number 88, Alfie Lindsay in the 44. This is the first time Callis has been here in the wet weather conditions. Did one round in the dry earlier on in the season before returning back to Ireland to compete in the championship over there, where she's currently the 2019 Munster karting champion, along with the 2019 Tully Allen Kart Club Rotax 165 champion. So a driver with a lot of pedigree, but the first time she's encountered wet weather conditions here at Teesside karting, as Max Prentice improves and moves into third with a 52.699. As we follow the 66, that is Ryan Elliott, your provisional pole sitter, in his X30. Going out of hairpin 4. Quickly adapting to the wet weather conditions here in his first outing of the day. Drivers that took part in the remainder of round number 7 will have had a little bit of a head start in getting used to the weather conditions out there on track. So we are into qualifying for round number 8, which will be carried out today. Round number 9 will be tomorrow here for this double-header weekend at Teesside, which brings the 2019 Summer Championship to a close. In this two-stroke class, your current championship leader in seniors is the number 44 of Andy Ambrose, who currently sits in 4th. Max Prentice in the 33 is the leader of the junior championship, but the 89 there, Daniel Kell, is looking to close the gap in the seniors to Andy Ambrose, and is certainly pushing that kart out on track. Behind him is Alfie Lindsay in the 86. He was pushing it through the chicane. There's Kell. Snakes his way through the chicanes and into hairpin number 1. 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. There's a black flag out there by the start line marshal, obviously needing to bring one of our drivers in. Wouldn't surprise me if that was the 18 of Callis Cole, to get a transponder on that might be working, not showing up on the timing screen at the moment. And if she were, then we might have 14 drivers shown up on the screen, although 12 have only set times at the minute, the best of which is the 66 of Ryan Elliott with a 51.239. Leader in Rotax, Daniel Kell, second overall, 7.5 tenths back, with Prentice, our leading junior, as Ficini sets a faster lap and goes up to 7th. Swan moved down to 8th. It's the 22 of Reeve coming through. Taking it very tentatively through those chicanes with a little bit of standing water offline. 18 of Cole still circulating. Jude Cole though improves. Andy Ambrose is in the pits in the 44, so going to be no improvement for him with 2 minutes remaining. Paul Swan as well off into the pits. So a number of our two-stroke drivers not believing they can improve and peeling off into the pit lane to prepare themselves for heat number 1. As Ficini in the 4 moves out of the way to allow the 18 of Cole and the 33 of Prentice through to have their laps uninterrupted, and ducks in behind to try and get a run and improve his time as he comes through. No improvement for Prentice. Catches right up onto the back of the 18 of Cole. Ficini as well in the background. Improvement at the head of the field by Elliott with a 51.072. Cole looks to have, Callis Cole appears to have moved out a bit of a gap from Prentice in behind. Kell with an improvement in the 90, a 56.596 for him. Still leaves him in 9th though, but now with a little bit more of a cushion back to Alfie Lindsay in the 86. Callis Cole's going to go right round the outside of the 22, is she? And then cut back to the inside. She does. Power down and over the start line in the number 18 cart. And her first lap with the transponder on gives her a 55.961 and moves her inside the top 10 up to 9th. Looks like the 34 of Burns is back out on track and circulating. Looks like he was in for a slight problem and has gone back out to familiarise himself with the conditions. Lap time showing of 7 minutes for the last one, so that suggests that he's come into the pits and then back out again. As we have 6 seconds remaining, the checkered flag will be out before anybody else crosses the line. The first one over looks likely that it will be for Cheney, but somebody's going to have to do something special to beat the 66 of Elliott in the Soul X30. So over the line, first one over is Burns, improves on the last lap to go up to 13th. Cole up to 6th. So in the two time laps, Callis Cole has been able to improve up to 6th place. 77 of Jude Cole comes through. Everybody else is going to be taking the checkered flag. So unless Daniel Kell's Rotax can find itself a second, it's going to be Ryan Elliott on pole position from Daniel Kell. Max Prentice and Jude Cole, Andy Ambrose, Callis Cole, William Young, Ben Ficini, Paul Swan and Stephen Kell. Alfie Lindsay, Tom Reeve, Josh Burns and Adam Parker. That is your 14 two-stroke drivers. They will all come through. I think maybe one more is to take the checkered flag, although Daniel Kell, I believe, may have popped himself off into the pit lane. We have one qualifying session remaining. It's our senior pro kart drivers with their twin-engine slick-shod karts. So they will be sliding around in the wet weather conditions here at Teesside Autodrome. And there'll be no rest as we'll be into our first race of the day. In terms of round number 3. A lot of appreciation for our drivers. How they're all faring in weather conditions. Rain is steady and has been consistent. Like this first part of nearly 20 hours at Teesside, so ready to the circuit, keep moving, working in between the intervals, clear the worst of the puddles. Certainly one side of the pavement has an improvement of the machine that takes the water out of the way. Senior pro kart drivers are out onto the track for qualifying, and they're headed by the number 55 of David Brown. Got himself to the dummy grid first, and he gets a spray-free couple of laps out at the front of the pack. As drivers make their way round the bottom corner. Reminder that our senior pro kart drivers run slick tyres at all times, come rain, shine or monsoon. So they will be through in a few seconds, and they will be lining themselves up to put the power down to start the opening lap for their qualifying session. A couple of drivers out there today that weren't out there earlier on, and one driver that I haven't seen come through is the number 43 of Connor Lucas, who around about an hour ago won the championship here with a commanding win. There he is, the number 43. Missed him on the first lap out, but he's out there in the wet weather conditions. Brandon Truman Reddish dives down the inside of Scott Tate in a move that you wouldn't mind seeing in racing conditions, but in qualifying it's not going to help either of them really, unless he can get himself out of the way now and around that bottom corner. In the background we see Steve Nicol taking a very wide line in his search for some grip. Certainly found some as he then finds his way past one car and then back down the inside of another in the number 58. The bright yellow, green and blue DWS shod cart. So, as they all come through, we'll wait for them all to set their fastest or their first lap and then see where everybody sits. But at the moment, it is Connor Lucas out at the front. Let's wait for Alban Dowell, Nigel Richardson, Josh Volkers, Paul White and Jake Brooker to set some times, and then we'll see where everybody is. But at the moment, it's Connor Lucas at the front from Brandon Truman Reddish, Sam Harris, David Brown, Connor White, Scott Tate, Martin Black, Danielle Gardner, Martin Tate and Adam Wood with the top 10. Drivers shown with blue numbers are pro drivers in the classes that are split for our pro kart. So they all race together, they all grid together. You start where you qualify. But our pro drivers in blue are clubman drivers with the red numbers, and our over 40s drivers racing with the 81. Please do get in touch with us on the live stream, either via the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page at Teesside Karting. We will keep checking those out throughout the day. You will also, that's Josh Volkers in the O plate. He's gone very, very wide at hairpin number 1. He's pushing himself back onto track under yellow flag conditions, and he's just about moving away, and he's got himself back onto track. Currently sitting in 10th place. Second in our championship is Josh Volkers. All of our drivers now have set the times. A couple of drivers out there for the first time today. The 757 of Simon Doughty, Paul White in the 411 and 117 of Ross Jackman out for the first time. That is the 411 of Paul White. His senior pro kart debut here at Teesside this season. A driver that we very familiar with the Teesside circuit in the SG Petch series. Joins us in the pro kart class today in the 411 kart as he goes round the outside of hairpin number 2. Following him is the 111 of Jake Brooker. Connor Lucas, though, is the time to beat with 1 minute and 6 seconds, 0.541. He's got a gap of 3/10 back to Truman Reddish, a driver that was running as high as second and probably should have taken the second place trophy home in the final. Earlier on in the day at the end of round number 7, but came into contact with Josh Volkers in the final one of our heats that earned Volkers a 20-second penalty and demoted Brandon Truman Reddish down to 6th place, robbing him of a fairly big points haul in his quest for the Clubman Championship, albeit it's going to be a tall order for him. He's 55 points back from the current leader, which is Danielle Gardner, although the gap between her and Connor White is only 11 points. And they don't, pro kart drivers not scoring points for their individual championship. Mechanical flag for the number 58 of Steve Nichols. So he will have to return to the pit lane and have something tendered to on that kart. And with 4 minutes remaining, he's going to struggle to improve time-wise. The likelihood, though, is you can't see him on the timing screen, that his mechanical flag is another one of those drivers whose transponder is not picking up. Not uncommon in the wet weather conditions. As most of you will be aware, electrical items and water, not that friendly, and the transponder on each of the carts to allow the circuit to pick up the lap times, not picking up. So let's have a quick look. As Mark Tate headed to the top of the field very shortly, as Connor Lucas, though, sets a faster lap on that way round. So 3 minutes remaining, your top 10. Lucas from Mark Tate, David Brown, Martin Black, Scott Tate, Brandon Truman Reddish, Sam Harris, Connor White and Josh Volkers. White in 8th, Danielle Gardner in 11th in their battle for the Clubman trophy, Mark Tate. As on the start line, we've had Nigel Richardson go off into the wall. Just managed to miss the bit of the wall that came out to the side, and then and the grass scrubbed off enough speed for it not to cause too much damage as he got himself there. Marshall helping him back onto the track. There's not much grip as Jake Brooker joins him across the grass. Jake Brooker parks up where Nigel Richardson had been a few moments earlier. Yellow flag out for all drivers on the start line, and when we find a little bit of space, I think after Martin Black comes past, Jake will be allowed to return back out onto the track. He's currently down in 10th in the 111. That's the 55 of Brown and the 43 of Lucas in third and pole respectively, provisionally with just under 2 minutes remaining now. Both of those two coming up to catch up with the 411 of Paul White, currently running in 16th. 19 drivers now out on track. Looks like the 58 of Nickel is back out and running. As White takes his line, and it looks like Brown is going to have to go right round the outside of him. He does. Lucas cuts to the inside, and these two will sit next to each other. Connor Lucas, though, puts his arm up in the air. I think thanks David Brown on the way past for letting him through. Brown will now slot in behind our championship winner. With 1 minute remaining, each driver coming over the line now will have one final attempt before the checkered flag comes out to improve on their times, as does Danielle Gardner and the O-plate of Josh Folkus. Both improve up to 7th and 8th. Steve Nicol, though, with a superb fastest lap. His first lap with a transponder on. He's put himself on provisional pole with a 1:05.44. That's a 10th faster than Lucas. A superb effort by Steve Nichols. There he is coming through in the screen in the 58. Makes the long trip up from Surrey and finds himself sat on provisional pole in the number 58 DWS car. 1 point with 14 seconds remaining. The checker will be out very, very shortly. Connor Lucas comes through in the 43. Might just get through before the checker drops to get another lap in. Doesn't improve this time, though. The checkered flag does finally fly. The first one to come through to take it will be the 13 of Martin Black. No improvement for him. No improvement either for the 31 of Tate. Danielle Gardner comes through. She'll start 8th at best. Connor White, though, improves. Goes up to 7th. Gardner down. A couple of drivers in the background peeling off into the pits. No improvements for those. Steve Nicholas come across the line with an even faster 1:04.585. So Connor Lucas is going to need a 1 second improvement on his fastest lap, or are we going to see the number 58 of Steve Nicol take his first pole position of the season here at Teesside? All our other drivers popping into the pits. Connor Lucas, though, and David Brown will be the last two over the line, I think, to set their time. Lucas comes over through the puddle on the inside, gets it sideways. Brown spins in the background. Lucas bails out of his lap, though. No improvements for any of our drivers. Steve Nicol will take the pole position in Senior Pro Kart with a superb 1:04.585. He'll start alongside championship winner Connor Lucas on the front row. That brings an end to our qualifying session here at Teesside Autodrome. As soon as our seniors are off the track, our Bambinos will be out for their race. As we watch them come over the dummy grid, the gentleman in the background there with 2 meals. Hopefully that's to share, unless he's got a rather large appetite for dinner. Adam Wood comes over, is checking all the way. So in a few moments we'll be back for our first race of round number 8, which will be our Bambinos. You see them there going out in the background. parents will be making their way down to the dummy grid. Don't go anywhere, they'll be out in a few moments. Welcome back to round number 8 of the NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series. First race of that round is about to get underway. On pole position for Bambino is the number 44 of Edward Haynes, followed by the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn, the 22 of Thomas Potter and the 4 of Oliver Sibbald. Then we have the 88 of Ollie Carter, the 69 of Riley Buckton-Young, 55 of Henry Hansen and the 66 of Edward Rye. Just having a look to our comments on the live feed. We've got a live update from our Cadet Championship winner Oliver Buckton, who's confirmed that the weather conditions are very cold out there, which I think is a generous assessment of the weather conditions here at Teesside Autodrome. We are underway for our Bambino class, running in their time trial format, so they will have 7 minutes to set as fast a cumulative time as possible. Edward Haynes in the 44 is off at the head of the field, followed by the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn. You see the spray coming off the back of the Bambino carts with their Comet C50 powered engines and their LeConte all-weather tyres. Haynes makes his way down the back straight and into the South Bank corner for the first time. Driver who managed to secure pole, and I'm sure was probably surprised himself a little bit getting a wet weather pole position, having struggled earlier on in the day in the wet weather conditions, and also previously round 7 has finally hooked it up in the wet weather and has put himself onto pole position. So he will come through for the first time, and we will see what each of the drivers' first laps were from a standing start. And it's a 1:15.1 for Haynes, but it's a 1:13.72 for Scarlett Dunn. She goes up to the front. Thomas Potter comes through with a 1:15.83. Sibbald with a 15.2. Ollie Carter with a good opening lap, a 15.4, moves Potter all the way back down to 5th. And as we've seen previously from the number 22 of Thomas Potter, whilst he's got very, very good in-race pace, he does sometimes struggle with that first lap, getting it going and getting into a rhythm. Whilst the pace always does tend to return later on, we spoke very often about the importance of that opening lap from a standing start, getting themselves underway and getting themselves into that rhythm for our Bambino drivers. They will do 6 or 7 laps depending on how quickly the leader gets through the time, which is 8 minutes all in. So we watch the 88 of Ollie Carter, one of our newer drivers, spin on the inside of hairpin number 3. He is stationary, he's going to try and spin that one round, but he might have to go up and over the curb unless he can get a little push back from the marshal, which he's going to do. He's going to be able to turn that left and get round just in enough time as Henry Hansen comes round. But with it being a cumulative time. Spins are costly in this Bambino format that rewards consistency to the maximum with Bambinos. We have 5 minutes remaining for this first heat, round number 8. As we see Riley Buckton Young snake his way through the chicanes and splash through the puddles. Scarlett Dunn, the early leader from Edward Haynes, Oliver Sibbald, Thomas Potter, Riley Buckton Young, Henry Hansen, Edward Wright and Ollie Carter. 8 drivers on the Bambino grid at the moment.
Dummy grid for heat 1. That's Junior Pro Cars. Please make your way to the dummy grid for heat 1.
55. Henry Hansen out onto the back straight. Large target on the side of his blue helmet as he goes into the south back corner. Thomas Potter, though, with a superb lap, has found himself at the head of the field. Oliver Sibbald as well. So, drivers moving around. Carter slides round corner 3, the hairpin 3 this time. Does manage to hold it though and keeps the car facing in the right direction.
The guy behind him, the guy in the red car, orange car.
So they come through. It's the Carter moves to 6th, Hansen back up to 6th, and Edward Rye in the background makes the jump from 8th all the way up to 6th place. Rye in the 66 in the background, silver helmet and red and white card. Standing up on the inside of hairpin number 2 as Scarlett Dunn sets the fastest lap with a 1:09. I think it's the first time we've seen a driver go into the 9s recently in these weather conditions, and she's now right on the back of Edward Haynes, who started on pole position. Haynes cuts to the inside. Dunn's going to have to work to get round him, doesn't really need to. She's going to go for it anyway, though, right round the outside of Haynes. Haynes goes to the inside. Contact, though, and Scarlett Dunn is round 360. Haynes pushes around. To see whether Scarlett has got herself moving again, but Haynes is well down the road. Dunn is moving, but the gap between them is now the length of the South Bank corner. Contact warning for the 44 of Edward Haynes. That's really going to cause problems for Dunn, who was leading, but as it's one continuous time from start to finish, she's now fallen back into the clutches of the 22 of Thomas Potter, who most likely will now be our leader as he comes through. Haynes jumps to the top, but only because he's crossed the line. Dunn remains second. Potter does in fact jump from 3rd all the way up to 1st. Sibbald now goes 2nd, Haynes is 3rd, Dunn has dropped from 1st to 4th. So your new leader is number 22 of Thomas Potter, although Dunn is pulling away in front of him. There he is, round hairpin 1, bright orange gloves. We're going to debate whether they're marigolds or gloves that you could potentially see on a dustman, but either way, they you can't miss them. As he goes round the South Bank corner and keeps his head down, trying to ease up on the drag of the carts with 1:03 remaining. He is your current leader. Dunn, though, is pulling away and closing back up onto the back of Edward Haynes. So Haynes goes to the head of the field, but only because he's there in front. Dunn does in fact go in front of Haynes, so she's closed the gap sufficiently to get back into 2nd place. Sibbald will come through and goes 3rd, so Dunn has had a sufficient lap to go from 4th to 2nd, despite that spin a few laps ago. Last lap board is out. Thomas Potter is the current leader, so it's Potter from Dunn, Sibbald and Haynes. Buckton Young is 5th, Edward Wright in 6th, Henry Hansen 7th, and Ollie Carter in 8th. So we watch the 7 of Scarlett Dunn going round the bottom corner for the final time. Haynes will be the first driver over the line as he started in pole position. He's going to come up to hairpin 4. He's going to have to keep it tight because Ollie Carter is facing the wrong way on the outside of hairpin 4. Haynes will come through though, take the checkered flag first, and then we await everybody else to see where they slot compared to him. Comes over, Haynes goes to the front. Dunn though with a personal best and fastest lap goes back into first place. Thomas Potter comes through, goes 2nd, so unless Oliver Sibbald can put a good last lap in, Scarlett Dunn, despite a mid-race spin, has taken the win in Bambino Heat 1. So we have Scarlett Dunn from Thomas Potter and Edward Haynes. Sibbald in 4th, Buckton Young in 5th, Wright 6th, Hansen will come through in 7th. I would imagine neither of those two have taken the checker yet, but Wright is right on the back of Hansen as he started off 2 seconds or so behind. Will just come through on the bumper and we'll get the 6th from Hansen in 7th, Carter 8th as a lap down, having spun with the leaders passing on the final lap. Those two come over the line together, Hansen and Young. So confirmation of your winner is Scarlett Dunn from Thomas Potter. Edward Haynes. There is your race winner, number 7, Scarlett Dunn. Another superb effort from her in the wet weather conditions. She has been for most of the season. YouTube channel Alpha Live. Set your reminder for round number 9, which will come from 9:30 AM tomorrow morning. So after you've enjoyed your extra hour in bed, or if you've got children, enjoyed an extra hour awake. Teesside. So that's not the end of the action as the Winter Series will start on the 8th of December at Gordon Welsh back to Teesside. 29th of December, the Oak meeting, and then we will go to TFI. Winter Series 26th of January. Weather conditions here at Teesside are very, very wet. The morale in the commentary box has been quite low, but the donuts have just come out, so morale has increased slightly. Thank you very much to Director Shane for the provision of those. I'm sure we will be, everybody else will be tucking into them. It would be rude for me to do so. I don't want to listen to a mouthful of food whilst I'm trying to tell you about our junior pro kart class who are coming round to take up their position on the grid for the first of their heats. And on the front row, on the left hand side of the screen, your 2019 junior pro kart champion, the number 38 of Aaron Alexander. On the outside of him, the number 24 of Jack Morris. Second row, we'll see Owen Spears in 3rd place on the inside. A superb qualifying lap for him on the final lap round. Moved him well up the field into 3rd place. 4th is the number 14 of Kieran Lambert. We'll have Jake Richardson is 5th, with Kieran Lambert in 6th. That's Mason Barker 7th on the inside of Thomas Braid in 8th. Callum Booth 9th. Jacob O'Connor 10th. Sandro Ballesteros 11th in the 19th. And Caitlin Frame making her Teesside karting debut in the number 18 on the outside. Everybody gets themselves ready. Green flag. Not ready. Looks like we were about to get ourselves going, but looks like there's a problem towards the rear of the field with one of our drivers. We will have another go at this start procedure. Start line marshal is out of the way. The green flag is up and we are underway. It's a good start by the pole sitter. It's a great start as well from the second row by Owen Spears. He's managed to get round the first corner this time. He was facing the wrong way last time we saw him in race conditions on the first lap and had to fight his way back through the field. But as they come through for the first time in the chicane, it's Aaron Alexander from the 24 of Jack Morris. In the background we've got the 18 of Caitlin Frame going off and over the curbs and spinning round the wrong way. The yellow flag out for her as we see Jake Richardson and Kieran Lambert go side by side down at the back straight. Lambert has got one foot in the door. Richardson though is going to shut it and see if he can get that trap, but he can't. Looks like Lambert has got down the inside. Still going to battle it out. It's still not done this one yet. Richardson back in front, goes back to the outside. Lambert to the inside. Richardson gets on the power earlier, round the outside. Powers his way back into 4th place. But the field already starting to spread itself out with the wet weather conditions. First fastest lap over the line is 1:02 for Aaron Alexander. He's got 6th tenths out in the lead. Spears in 3rd. Morris follows Alexander with his 6th tenth back. Spears, Richardson, Lambert, Mason Barker, Booth, Braid, Blythe, Ballesteros, O'Connor and Frame all come through. They're your 14 drivers. Looks like we could be missing Ben Hogarth running in the number 68 car, not with us on timing. I don't think he was there on the grid either. I'm not sure that he qualified, and might see him back tomorrow. As Barker gets onto the back of the number 14 of Richardson and 14, sorry, of Lambert. Richardson in front of those. They'll come through. Richardson with Lambert tucked up onto the back bumper of the number 9 as they all come through. So Richardson holding firm, backing everybody else back up there in the pack, goes through the puddle, runs wide. Looked like Lambert was going to try and squeeze down the inside there, but it's tight through them chicanes. If you want to go through side by side, you need a lot of compliance from your fellow racer if you're going to do that. Maybe today's weather conditions are not advisable. Out onto the back straight. Richardson then leads from Lambert. Barker has dropped away and will soon come under pressure from Callum Booth, who's moved up from 9th into 7th. Asher Blythe though has dropped away quite a lot from his 4th place start, all the way down now in 9th. You'll see him there on the back of that pack in front of Ballesteros and O'Connor, who are battling. O'Connor has closed the gap on Ballesteros quite a lot. You saw them coming into the background. They're side by side as they go over the start line. Let's see how they come through. Ballesteros just in front. Alexander though has opened out the gap at the front of the field. It could be very difficult for anybody really to beat Aaron Alexander, certainly in these weather conditions. Very, very wet out there at Teesside. Weather conditions somewhat in the region as they were in the original round 7 that we had, quite bad. But then we had a lunchtime deluge and it was just enough to put pay to the rest of the day, which at the time was certainly the correct decision with the weather conditions. It was Thomas Braid go right round the outside of Asher Blythe. Not enough though to make a move on him, and Blythe will hold firm and hold 8th place. That'll be confirmed as they come over the line, although the move had been done a lot earlier in the lap. Lambert up to 4th, Richardson is down to 5th. Ballesteros comes through. He's opened up the gap now from O'Connor. Out in front. No spray to get in his way. It's Aaron Alexander who's got a gap of 2.3 seconds. He will shortly come up to catch the number 18 on Caitlin Frame, who spins at hairpin 3 in front of Alexander, goes wide and cuts back in, so that gets herself going again as Owen Spears comes through in third. Alexander comfortably out in front then from the 24 of Jack Morris. Then Owen Spears, taking full advantage of a superb qualifying session, finds himself up in third. Personal bests for Morris and Spears, same as well for Richardson. Blythe has got past Booth, who's dropped down to 8th. Having run very well towards the front of the field in wet conditions. At the end of round 7 earlier this morning, Callum Booth struggling now in the wet weather conditions for round 8 after a fairly poor qualifying session by his own standards, where he found himself in 9th, runs only as high as 8th now, and normally challenging for podium positions here at Teesside. Yeah. Certainly pushing for 3rd place in the championship, a battle that is currently locked in with Kieran Lambert and Jack Morris as well, and Jack Morris is second, doing very, very well as Booth and Blythe and Barker go side by side. They've sorted themselves out into single file as they come up to the chicane, and it's probably best that they do so before they get to that corner. Thomas Braid on the back of those 4, so a battle for 6th place. Barker down the inside of Booth. They're going to go side by side. Booth has no other option. It was either back out or go over the curb. He chooses the over the curb option, and he keeps it facing in the right direction. So we've got Barker up to 6th. Booth is 7th. Asher Blythe 8th. Braid is 9th. Braid drops back slightly as Barker goes to the inside. Booth was thinking about going right round the outside, and that's opened the door now to Asher Blythe, who's gone down the inside. Could get 2 places here, Blythe, if he sticks it out, but he can't. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Probably for the best, because I think if he hadn't have been pinballed straight between the side pods of Booth and Barker, he might have ended up spinning round, and that would have been a detriment to his race. But he certainly makes up 1 place, moves to 7th. Barker is currently 6th in the red suit in front of him. Comfortably 2nd in the championship, Mason Barker. Not fared so well though in the wet weather conditions he has in the dry. Tomorrow's weather forecast, with it being much better, expect to see him move himself much closer to the front of the field. Blythe goes to the inside, sees if he can get a run on him. He can't, he's gone right to the outside now. Barker looks left to see where he's gone. Asher Blythe looking very, very racy. He's going to try that move down the inside again. Is he on Barker? Barker says no. Forces him to go to the outside. He's going to dive round the outside, cuts a little bit tight to the inside. These two will run side by side unless Barker gets a much better run. He does, out of that corner. The track obviously with a few cones for the puddles tightens some of these corners. This battle has really played into the hands as well of the number 19 of Sandro Ballesteros. They've backed themselves up into the clutches of the driver of the number 19. It's now a 5-kart battle for 6th place. These carts now 6 seconds off the back of Jake Richardson in 5th. So all playing, and there's chopping and changing. Everybody looked like they went in a different direction, but they've all come out the other side in the same positions that they were, which is Barker in 6th, Blythe 7th, Booth in 8th. Ballesteros in the background in 10th, looking to go down the inside of Braid for 9th. He can't do it this time. Booth goes to the inside, makes his way past Asher Blythe. And now he's got 1 lap to get the move done. Sandro Ballesteros right round the outside of Thomas Braid. Thomas Braid, superb move by the 19 of Ballesteros to take 9th. We'll now head back to the front of the field, and out there in a class of his own is the number 38 of Aaron Alexander. Out of hairpin number 3 into hairpin number 4. It's a long trip up to Teesside from his Kings Lynn base, but it's worth it when you can take victories like this one. Over the line, takes victory in heat number 1. Number 38 of Aaron Alexander. Jack Morris comes through in 2nd. Owen Spears will come through behind in 3rd. Negotiates the final corner and crosses the line. Kieran Lambert holds on for 4th in a race-long battle with Jake Richardson that we've missed as we've focused mainly on the battle for 6th. As Barker comes through to win that enthralling battle. Ballesteros and Braid come through. Blythe is nowhere to be seen. He's spun at some point. Jacob O'Connor's in front of him as well. O'Connor will come through and take the final position in the top 10. Blythe down in 11th, Frame in 12th. So a superb race-long battle for 6th place, for which Barker won in the end there, but a superb result for our race winner. Number 38, Aaron Alexander. Arm up as he indicates he's going to come off the circuit and into the pit lane to go over the top of the weighbridge. Especially in the dry, you've been in the class of Barker there. Dragging along the water. Car. There is Sandro Ballesteros, so a great race towards the end, going around the outside of top grade taking place. Background, you can see the cadets going on track with the back in a few moments. Welcome back to Teesside Karting. It looks like we're going to grid up for our cadets, and we certainly know that number 44 of Oliver Buckton is in pole position, and he will, everybody else in the background appears to be either spinning or not getting themselves in a position that they need to be. We've got a number 42 of Leon Barlow facing the wrong way. It looks like his engine has stalled. One of the marshals is making his way over to offer him some assistance. We need to get our cadets sorted and gridded up. The problem for the number 42 Barlow, certainly in the background, looks like we've got problems with one of his pedals. It's either his brake or his throttle. I think he can spin himself round. Again, it looks like something was stuck, and now he's got himself facing into the right direction. Got problems there trying to grid up our drivers. We certainly know the 66 of Buckton is going to start on pole position. Drivers were notified in the briefing prior to the start of round number 8, which we had in the 15-minute break, that should a driver spin on the outlap, they will be deemed to have fallen to the back of the grid, and that is where they shall start. So drivers now making their way forwards to the grid. We have pole sitter on the inside. The number 66 is Oliver Buckton alongside Gracie Mitchell. Sebastian Corking with a season's best qualifying of 3rd alongside Bella Franklin. Then we've got the number 20, Gracie Mitchell, alongside birthday girl number 88, Isabella Stanmore Wilson. 50 is Lizzie Mentier on the inside. We're going to get them all gridded up in the right place. 23 in 8th, Charlie Wyatt. 18, Max Shields alongside the number 9 of Ollie Poole. That's your top 10. Remainder of the grid get themselves formed up. 54 is Kian McLeod, making his Teesside karting debut this season in the 54 on the inside, one of our 160 drivers. Behind him, another one of our 160 drivers, the 37 of Jack Thompson. 2 more drivers coming through to take up their position on the grid. The 77 of Sophie Pawsey, and we still have problems towards the rear of the field for the number 42 of Leon Barlow. I think we've got some problems with the front end of that number 42 car, and it doesn't look like it's going to move under its own steam. Could be a delay to the start of cadet heat number 1 as we await the removal of the number 42 bright red Enzari car of Liam Barlow. Looks like he's got himself moving very slowly. The stopped again then. There's certainly some problems with that number 42 car. Don't know whether he's going to take up his position at the back of the grid or whether he's going to have that car pushed towards, but he's climbing out of the 42. It's over before it started, unfortunately, for the 42 of Leon Barlow. Quad making its way out to pick up the number 42. Unfortunate start to round number 8 for Leon Barlow. Get that one up onto the quad and out of the way. Drivers waiting patiently on the grid as he's placed up onto the back of the recovery quad, efficiently moved quickly out of the way and gets himself going. Looks like we're going to move that one off the track for the time being. Looks like we're going to get the grid underway, and then the quad will move the car of 42 Barlow out of the way. Don't want to waste too much time, certainly in this weather conditions. The green flag is up, the green flag is down. Buckton with a rapid start, and Mitchell cuts into the inside. Bella Franklin moves up from 4th into 3rd place, so we have Buckton from Mitchell. Then we've got Franklin, Sebastian Corking in the 52, running in 4th. Charlie Wyatt up from the 4th row is into 5th already. Mentier is 6th. As we go single file down the back straight, round the South Bank corner and into hairpin number 3 for the first time. Catherine Potter cuts to the inside of Lizzie Mentier for 6th. So as they come round for the first time of this 8-lap first heat, Buckton crosses the line, leads from Mitchell, Franklin, Corking, then Wyatt. Potter, Mentier, Shields, Stanmore, Wilson has dropped away to 9th. Mack is 10th, Fox Whiteley 11th, Thompson 12th, Poole is 13th, McLeod 14th, Fishburne's 15th. Then we've got Robinson, Harrison, Benson, Pawsey and Girling. That's 20. We'll have Hanson as well in 21st, and we know Barlow is missing as well. as he was unfortunate not to make the start. Corking goes round the outside. Wyatt tries to duck to the inside, impedes himself, and this might give Potter an opportunity to come past him. Everybody cuts in single file. The rain continues to fall here at the Teesside Autodrome in Middlesbrough. 6 laps remaining of the first heat for our cadet class. Ollie Buckton, your early leader, having secured the championship earlier on in the day at the start of round number 7. Driving without pressure and is certainly away at the front. So it's Buckton from Mitchell. Franklin as well. Mitchell closes the gap. Looks like Buckton was impeded by either a spinner or a back marker on the way out of hairpin 2 round the South Bank corner. Corking in 4th, coming under increasing pressure from Wyatt, who tries to dive down the inside, has the door unceremoniously shut on him by the 52 of Corking. Potter remains in 6th, Mentia behind in 7th. Shields is over in 8th. Stanmore Wilson, the top 10 have broken free with Mack in behind. Oh, sorry, Fox Whiteley's there. Mack's dropped away. Looks like he's had a spin down 17th. 18th he's fallen now for the number 16 of David Mack. In with the shout of the championship earlier on in the day, but Oliver Buckton put that one to bed very, very early on as he comes under pressure though from the number 11 of Gracie Mitchell. Round South Bank, Mitchell goes to the inside and takes the lead from Oliver Buckton. It's the first time he's not led so far today, other than off the start line of one of the earlier heats. So Mitchell, your new leader, as they come up to, looks like that's Hansen that they're going to lap. He spun earlier on, so he's going to go round the outside of him. So everybody trying to make their way through. Buckton's gone to the inside. Franklin had to go right round the outside, and in doing so was given a place to the number 23 of Charlie Wyatt, at the same time as Wyatt gets a contact warning. So does the 52 of Sebastian Corking. Corking now down to 9th, having run as high as 4th. Charlie Wyatt though onto the back of Oliver Buckton. It's given Gracie Mitchell a little bit of breathing space, making the way back past the back marker, and she's got a good 2.5 seconds now as Buckton is 2nd, Wyatt 3rd, Franklin in 4th. Franklin and Wyatt have been very evenly matched at times this season as they come through. Mitchell, Buckton, Wyatt, Franklin. Mitchell with a fastest lap of a 55.616. Mentia and Shields, that's 7th. 8th is Stanmore Wilson. 9th, Corking. You see Stanmore Wilson there, the blue and yellow cart coming through. Have a look down the field. We've got Ollie Poole in 11th, our leading 160 driver, with Jack Thompson in 37 right behind him. 2 drivers running their 160 engines. Keir McLeod 13th as well, just behind those 2 running at 160, as is Charlie Benson in 15th and Finlay Fishburne in 17th. Victor Hansen as well in the number 21, also running in 21st, our 160 drivers. The drivers battle against the weather conditions here at Teesside Autodrome. Spray coming off the back of the carts. The rain not particularly easing, as it hasn't since we started, and pretty much since around about 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. 1.5 laps remaining. Gracie Mitchell comfortably out at the front of the field, with Oliver Buckton and Charlie Wyatt behind. Bella Franklin as well. Buckton has broken a little bit of a gap, but they're coming up now to some of the back markers. Mitchell will make her way through very shortly, past one of the back markers, and then the battle for 2nd will soon close up onto the back of the 77 of Sophie Pawsey might play into the hands of either Wyatt or Franklin if Buckton can't find his way through. Cleanly, they're going to go right round the outside of Pawsey. Buckton's managed to get it done, as has Wyatt. Franklin will have to wait for another opportunity. Ollie Poole has made up a place and he moves up into the top 10 with his 160, moving Jared Fox-Whiteley in the number 22 down to 11th. 20 of Catherine Potter, currently running in 5th place, followed by the 18 of Max Shields. Shields, I think, has dropped behind Lizzie Mentier in the 50. He has. But out of hairpin number 4 for the final time. Coming through to take the checkered flag will be Gracie Mitchell. Oliver Buckton will get second from Charlie Wyatt in 3rd. Bella Franklin 4th. Potter comes through for 5th. Mentier does get 6th from Shield in 7th. Stanmore Wilson in 8th. Corking 9th. We wait for our 160 winner to come through. That will be the O-plate of Ollie Poole. There he is in the blue cart with the white helmet. Jared Fox-Whiteley is 11th. Jack Thompson 12th. Kian McLeod 13th. Josh Harrison 14th. Another debutant in front of William Robinson. Charlie Benson 16th. Ethan Girling in 17th. Finlay Fishburn 18th. David Mack will come through very shortly. There he is in 19th. A difficult race for the number 16 of David Mack. Clearly not enjoying the wet weather conditions here at Teesside. We will be watch the cadets come off track now, and very shortly we'll have our 2-stroke class out and onto the track for the first of their round of training. There goes on camera is your winner, Gracie Mitchell. It's number 11, a faultless drive for her. Found her way past Oliver Buckton. And packed behind, got herself caught up with the back marker, and it clearly out. She never looked back from there on. Stanmore Wilson, 8 years old today, and 8th place, so there's the lead going on there. There's your 160 winner going over the way bridge. Safe deliveries for 18 of Max Shields, those beautifully turned down carts. Ian Cloud had trouble getting stationed on the weighbridge. He's not on his way as our 2-stroke class goes out to the background. We've not seen the 2-stroke class before. They're the only class with us that do a rolling start, so they will come round and out of hairpin 4 side by side. They will then plant the throttle and come as they're side by side, and the start line marshal is happy with how they're formated. The green flag will fly and they will get themselves underway and move straight down into the national corner. Missing out the chicane on the first lap. Have to slow it down a little bit. One car needs to come round and get onto the back of the grid, but everybody at the front seems to be comfortably situated. The 66 of Elliott is away, and we are underway with our 2-stroke class. 66 of Elliott slots into the front. The 89 behind, Daniel Kell, gets himself into the class lead for Rotax. Behind him is championship challenger, the 44 of Andy Ambrose. Looks like we've got a cart moving very slowly in the background. Could have been the 33 of Max Prentice. Ambrose then, followed by the 18 of Callis Cole. Into South Bank at racing speed for the first time for our 2-stroke class. Ryan Elliott out into the lead in the Soul X30. Followed by Daniel Kell. Behind him, Callis Cole makes a move to the inside of Andy Ambrose. Ambrose cuts back though and goes through into third place. Plenty of action further down. 52 of Paul Swan throwing the cart round past round 7 heat winner number 77 of Duke Cole. In the background, the 90 of Steve Kell comes through, and probably a couple more behind them, but it's Cole. Callis Cole tries to make a move on Andy Ambrose. No can do this time, as she seems to have a little bit more straight line speed than the driver of the number 44. With Ambrose having to focus behind him, it's allowing the championship challenger Daniel Kell to move out at the head of the field of the Rotax class. All of these drivers will have to go some though to beat the number 66 Soul X30 kart of Ryan Elliott, and he is away at the start. We've had a couple of X30s with us throughout the season, with Richard Cannon and Sam Barrett at the last round, bringing their X30s down to join our ever-growing two-stroke class. Two karts stationary there. That's the 33 apprentice. We thought we saw him having some sort of problems earlier. Not sure who the other car is. It could be Alfie Lindsay, but those two have stopped and parked their carts in perfect formation on the grass, and will take no further part in two-stroke Heat 1 as over the line comes Ryan Elliott with Dan Kell following behind. So there is Elliott going out of shot. We'll pick up Kell very, very shortly in the 89, although he's not coming through on the timing screen, but he's definitely there in second place. And behind them, the battle for third is Callis Cole and Andy Ambrose. Ambrose currently leading that battle in third place, Cole in fourth. Then we have a gap back to Ben Ficini, who is around. Callis Cole tries for a move on the inside of Andy Ambrose. Nothing done this time round. See if she can line herself up for another run outside of that favoured turn 4 that we saw her use quite effectively earlier in the season at round number 1. And, that was, of course, in dry weather conditions, and we saw her use the cutback numerous occasions throughout the day to take places off drivers. We follow William Young. Paul Swan goes through. He's opened up a bit of a gap from the 90 of Steve Kell. Young out onto the back straight, trying to close the gap on Duke Cole in front of him. Having some live timing issues, but out on track. Certainly have Ryan Elliott out in the lead from Daniel Kell. As Paul Swan comes through emphatically over the start line, almost runs out of tarmac, but manages to straighten it up before he meets the grass. That is your race leader of Ryan Elliott. He's got a couple of seconds gap before we pick up to Daniel Kell in the background. Behind him is Andy Ambrose, who now has a very comfortable gap back to Callis Cole, who looks like she's had some sort of problem but still runs in 4th place. So there is Rotax leader Daniel Kell coming through and over the line. Elliott though, the only X30 driver well on his way to a victory, moving himself onto the back straight into the corner at the far end of the circuit in these wet weather conditions here at Teesside Autodrome. Please do get in touch with us on the live stream, either via the Teesside Karting Facebook page or via the YouTube channel, and we will have a look at those throughout the day, especially as the weather conditions hopefully get themselves a little bit better as we go through the heats into the finals in the early part of the afternoon. Be sure though to join us tomorrow for round 9, the final round of the NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series here at the Teesside Autodrome. For more karting action, we will be with you all day from 9:20. Just having a look at some of the live feed comments, and a lot of people tuning in from over in Ireland to watch Callis Cole, currently running third on screen in terms of timing, but is actually fourth on track as we're not picking up Daniel Kell in his transponder, and he's running currently in second place on track as we watch 44, Andy Ambrose, going round hairpin number 4 and onto the start straight. 3 laps remaining in the first of our 2-stroke heat. The battle between Daniel Kell and Andy Ambrose will continue for the rest of the day as they battle very tightly for the 2-stroke championship, and anything can happen in 2-stroke racing. We've seen a number of retirements throughout the day, especially with the weather conditions playing havoc with some equipment, as we see the 18 of Callis Cole making her way through the chicanes here at Teesside. There's certainly less standing water than what there has been at those corners. Certainly coming through the chicanes, not so much so on the section as they go towards onto the back straight. It still looks to be quite wet there, as we see Jude Cole took 2 superb heat wins earlier on this morning. What was the end of round number 7. Did very, very well, runs 5th on track, holds off Ben Ficini. Their battle, Ficini in the number 4, has quite an eventful day already. Led a race out right in round 7 before going over the curbs, gaining quite a lot of air and coming to land off the circuit on the outside. And as we see, the 52 of Paul Swan getting himself into some trouble. Gets himself going though and facing in the wrong direction, but that's dropped him a little bit down the timing. Last lap though, and now the last lap board is out. Ryan Elliott well on his way to a win here in the 2-stroke class. There he is, going round hairpin number 1. He will come through hairpin number 2 and onto the back straight. Half a lap remaining now. Round South Bank for the final time in the number 66 X30. He's throwing it around now. He's just got one more corner to do and he will come through, and he'll be the first person in X30 and in 2-stroke to see the checkered flag. Comes through, there it is on the outside, takes the checkered flag and the victory for Ryan Elliott. We then await our Rotax winner. That is Daniel Kell, is it? No, that's 2 back markers coming through. That's Stephen Kell and Paul Swan. There is Daniel Kell in the 89. And then we wait for Andy Ambrose to come through in the background. There he is, second place in class for Ambrose. Kell will close up the points gap very, very slightly. The number 13 driver of the number 89 managing to squeeze a little bit of racing in between his saloon car racing and his motorsport engineering degree at Bolton University. So plenty going on for the 89 of Daniel Kell. There though, your overall race winner, the number 66 of Ryan Elliott. We'll be back in a few moments time with heat number 1 of our senior pro kart class. We'll run through the grid, which on pole position for the first time this season will be the number 58 of Steve Nichols.